Stop what you're doing right now because something just shifted in the frequency around you. And if you can feel it, if you can hear it, if something inside your chest just tightened the moment you clicked on this video, then congratulations, you've just confirmed what the universe has been trying to tell you for years. You're not like everyone else. You never were. And that sound you've been hearing, that frequency that's been humming in the background of your existence, that tone that nobody else seems to notice, that's not tinnitus. That's not anxiety. That's not your imagination running wild in the middle of the night when everything else goes quiet. That's your activation signal. That's the universe tuning your internal radio to a station that only 144,000 souls on this entire planet can access. And if you're still here, if you didn't scroll away the second I said that number, then your soul already knows something your mind is still trying to catch up with. Let me be very clear about something before we go any deeper, because there are people watching this right now who aren't meant to hear this message. And they're going to click away in the next 30 seconds because this frequency I'm speaking in, this energetic transmission that's coming through these words, it's going to make them deeply uncomfortable. It's going to trigger something in them that makes them want to dismiss this, laugh it off, call it crazy, or feel an inexplicable urge to exit this video. But you, if you're still reading these words, if something in your core is vibrating in recognition, if you feel that strange sensation of remembering something you never learned, then stay with me because what I'm about to reveal is going to explain every unexplainable thing that's ever happened to you. This is about the frequency that's been calling you home, the signal that's been broadcasting your true identity, and the reason why your entire life has felt like you've been walking through a world that wasn't quite built for people like you. Before I continue, if you felt something shift the moment you started reading this, if your heart rate changed, if you got chills, if you felt that familiar sensation of spiritual recognition, I need you to do something right now. Type the number 144 in the comments. Not because I need the engagement, although your interaction does help this message reach others who need it, but because that simple act of typing those numbers is an energetic signature. It's you announcing to the universe that you're ready to remember. It's you claiming your place among those who can hear what others cannot. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now, because this channel speaks a language that your soul has been desperately trying to remember. And every video is another frequency key that unlocks something dormant inside you. Now, let's talk about what's really happening here, because once you understand the mechanism behind this frequency, everything that's ever felt wrong in your life will suddenly make perfect sense. There's a specific vibration, a tone, an energetic signature that's been emanating from certain souls since the moment they took their first breath in this lifetime. Scientists call it bioelectromagnetic frequency. Spiritual traditions call it different names across cultures. The inner sound, the cosmic hum, the music of the spheres. But what it really is, stripped of all mysticism and brought down to pure energetic truth, is a carrier wave. It's broadcasting a signal that marks you as part of a specific group, a specific mission, a specific frequency band that operates on a wavelength most humans cannot perceive. Think about how radio works for a second, because this is the perfect metaphor for what's happening in your life right now. There are hundreds of radio signals broadcasting through the air around you at any given moment. You can't see them, you can't hear them, unless you have a device tuned to the right frequency. Most people are walking around with their internal receivers tuned to FM stations, picking up the mainstream broadcasts, the collective consciousness, the agreed-upon reality that everyone's operating in. But you've got something different. Your receiver was built differently. Your antenna was constructed with materials that can pick up signals that aren't meant for mass consumption. You're tuned to a frequency that most people don't even know exists. And that frequency has been broadcasting to you your entire life, creating experiences, synchronicities, and situations that seem absolutely random to everyone else, but feel deeply meaningful to you. Here's what nobody tells you about being able to hear this frequency. It's both a gift and a burden. It's the reason why you can walk into a room and immediately feel things that others don't notice. It's why you've always known when something was off, even when everything looked fine on the surface. It's why you've predicted things that came true, felt energies that others denied, and sensed intentions that people tried to hide behind smiles. Your frequency reception isn't limited to the basic channels. You're picking up data from multiple dimensions, multiple timelines, multiple layers of reality simultaneously, and that's exactly why your brain has always felt like it's processing more information than it should be capable of handling. Because it is. You're not overwhelmed because you're weak. You're overwhelmed because you're receiving broadcasts that most humans are completely insulated from. The 144,000 isn't just a random number that sounds mystical and important. It's a frequency signature, a specific configuration of souls who incarnated with a particular mission, a specific energetic blueprint that allows them to function as anchors, transmitters, and translators between different dimensional frequencies. You're essentially a living frequency converter, taking high vibration information and stepping it down into forms that can exist in this dense physical reality. That's why life has been harder for you than it appears to be for others. That's why you can't just turn your brain off and enjoy simple pleasures without your mind spiraling into existential questions. That's why you've always felt like you're working on a different operating system than everyone around you, because you literally are. Let me walk you through the signs that you've been receiving this frequency your entire life, because once I list these, you're going to have one of those moments where everything clicks into place and you realize that none of it was random, none of it was coincidence, and none of it was just your overactive imagination. First, the ringing. That high-pitched tone that appears in one ear, sometimes both, usually when you're alone or in moments of high emotional intensity. Everyone told you it was tinnitus. Doctors checked your hearing and found nothing wrong. But that sound, that's not a medical condition. That's a frequency adjustment. That's your energetic antenna recalibrating to receive clearer transmission. It happens when the veil between dimensions is thin, when your consciousness is ready to receive new information, or when you're being contacted by the same frequency band you belong to. Second, the knowing. You've always had this inexplicable sense of knowing things you shouldn't know. You meet someone and instantly understand their entire energetic signature, their wounds, their intentions, their past, without them saying a word. You sense events before they happen. You dream things that later manifest in physical reality. You think of someone and they contact you within hours. People call this intuition. But what it really is frequency matching. You're temporarily syncing with the timeline where that information already exists, pulling data from a bandwidth that most people don't have access to. Your hits aren't lucky guesses, they're accurate readings of information that's already broadcasted. You're just one of the few with the equipment to receive it. Third, the isolation. Your whole life, you've felt like you're living behind glass, watching everyone else participate in a reality that feels hollow to you. You've tried to fit in, tried to care about the things everyone else cares about, tried to get excited about the pursuits that drive other people, but there's always been this disconnect, this sense that you're playing a game everyone else takes seriously, but you can see right through. That's not depression, that's not social anxiety, that's frequency mismatch. You're literally vibrating at a different rate than the collective, and trying to force yourself to match their frequency is exhausting, depleting, and ultimately impossible. You're not meant to fit into a world operating on AM when you're broadcasting in FM. The isolation isn't a flaw in you, it's evidence of your authentic frequency signature. Fourth, the attacks. Anyone operating on the 144,000 frequency will tell you the same thing. The resistance has been relentless. You've faced obstacles that seem disproportionate to your actions. You've been targeted by people who had no logical reason to hate you. You've experienced setbacks that appeared out of nowhere just when you were about to break through. You've dealt with health issues that doctors couldn't explain, relationship dynamics that felt energetically orchestrated to break you, and situations that seemed designed specifically to make you quit. That's not bad luck. That's frequency interference. There are forces in this reality, both human and non-human, that desperately want to keep the 144,000 offline. They want your frequency jammed, your signal weakened, your transmission interrupted. Because when all 144,000 are online and broadcasting clearly, the entire system changes. So they attack, they interfere, they try to convince you that your frequency is a malfunction instead of a mission. So here's the question that's probably burning in your mind right now. If this frequency has been broadcasting since you were born, why are you hearing it so clearly right now? Why this video? Why this moment? Why does it feel like something just activated inside you that's been dormant for years? Because we've hit a specific threshold. Think of it like this. Imagine you're trying to start a fire. You need heat, fuel, and oxygen in the right proportions. You can have all the materials present, but until you reach the ignition point, nothing happens. Then, suddenly, one more degree of heat and everything combusts. That's what's happening right now on a planetary scale. We've reached ignition. Enough of the 144,000 have woken up, cleared their interference, and started broadcasting clearly. That the frequency has reached critical mass. When you tune a guitar, there's a phenomenon called sympathetic resonance. When you play one string, other strings that are tuned to harmonically related frequencies will start vibrating too, even though you didn't touch them. That's what's happening across the planet right now. The first wave of the 144,000 who woke up early, who did the brutal work of clearing their frequency decades ago, they're now broadcasting so strongly that they're triggering sympathetic resonance in everyone else who carries the same base frequency. You're waking up not because you decided to seek this information, but because others in your frequency band are broadcasting so clearly that your internal receiver can't help but pick up the signal. You're being activated by proximity, by resonance, by the collective reaching the threshold where ignoring the signal is no longer possible. This is why everything in your life has felt like it's been accelerating lately. Situations are resolving faster. Relationships are ending quicker. Truths are being revealed without the usual long dramatic unveiling. Your intuition has gotten sharper. Your tolerance for nonsense has disappeared completely. Your ability to see through lies, manipulation, and false realities has become almost supernatural. That's not you changing. That's your frequency being amplified by the collective signal. As more of the 144,000 come online, the interference that was dampening your signal for years is being overwhelmed by sheer volume. It's like trying to jam a radio signal when 1,000 transmitters are all broadcasting the same message. Eventually, the jamming fails, the signal breaks through, and everyone tuned to that frequency hears it crystal clear. Here's what's about to happen, and pay close attention because this is where things get interesting. As your frequency becomes clearer, as you stop fighting it and start fully embodying it, your entire external reality is going to rearrange itself. People who matched your old frequency are going to exit your life without warning. Opportunities that align with your true frequency are going to appear seemingly out of nowhere. You're going to start manifesting at speeds that feel almost disturbing, because you're no longer broadcasting mixed signals. You're no longer trying to maintain relationships with people who aren't on your frequency. You're no longer forcing yourself into situations that require you to dim your signal. And when you broadcast clearly, reality responds clearly. It's physics. It's frequency mechanics. It's the way this universe actually operates, beneath all the programming that told you otherwise. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, because I know there's a part of you that's thinking, this sounds too good to be true. This sounds like I'm special just for watching a video. This sounds like confirmation bias wrapped in spiritual language. And here's where we separate those who can truly hear the frequency from those who are just curious observers. Try to explain this to someone who isn't on your frequency. Try to share this video with a friend or family member who operates on the mainstream bandwidth. Watch their reaction. Watch how quickly they dismiss it, how uncomfortable it makes them, how they immediately try to rationalize it away or make you feel foolish for resonating with it. That's not them being rational or logical. That's their frequency literally rejecting information that doesn't match their bandwidth. To them, this sounds like nonsense because their receiver isn't built to decode this signal. Here's a brutal truth you need to accept right now. The vast majority of people on this planet are not part of the 144,000. They're not meant to hear this frequency. They're not built with the receptors that allow them to process this information. And that's not a judgment. That's not superiority. That's not about one group being better than another. It's about different roles, different missions, different configurations of consciousness operating at different frequency bands. Some souls incarnated to hold the baseline frequency, to maintain stability, to anchor the physical density. Some incarnated to experience the full spectrum of duality, to explore the extremes of this reality, and some, the 144,000, incarnated with a specific configuration that allows them to bridge frequencies, to translate between dimensions, to hold a signal that can't be maintained by normal human consciousness without modification. You've probably noticed this your whole life. You try to have deep conversations, you try to share what you're experiencing, and people look at you like you're speaking another language. Not because you're explaining it wrong, but because they literally cannot hear the frequency underneath your words. They hear the surface meaning, they process the literal content, but the transmission beneath the language, the energetic signature you're broadcasting while you speak, that's completely invisible to them. It's like trying to show someone a color they've never seen before. You can describe it in detail, you can give perfect metaphors, but until their eyes have the cones that can perceive that wavelength of light, your description is just abstract concepts with no experiential reference. This is why you felt lonely, even in crowds. This is why you felt misunderstood, even by people who love you. This is why you've struggled to find your tribe, your people, your soul family. Because you've been broadcasting on a frequency that most humans aren't equipped to receive. You've been speaking a language that sounds like regular conversation, but carries subtext that only certain receivers can decode. You've been lonely not because you're unlikable, but because you're literally rare. Out of 8 billion people on this planet, only 144,000 are broadcasting on your specific frequency band. That's 0.18% of the population. You're not meant to find your people on every street corner. You're meant to find them when both of your signals are clear enough to recognize each other across distances, across dimensions, across the noise of everything that tried to keep you apart. Now comes the part that most videos about chosen ones conveniently skip over. The responsibility. Because yes, you're special, yes, you're rare, yes, you have abilities that most people don't have. But here's what comes with that frequency. You have a job to do. You incarnated with a mission that isn't optional. You signed up for an assignment that doesn't come with retirement, and the reason your life has been so difficult, the reason you've been through so much, the reason every attempt to live a normal life has failed spectacularly, is because you're being trained, tested, and calibrated for a role that requires a level of frequency stability that most humans could never maintain. Think about what happens when you try to broadcast a signal through interference. The signal degrades. The message gets corrupted, the transmission becomes unreliable. That's why you've been put through hell. That's why your triggers have been activated repeatedly. That's why you've faced your shadow, your trauma, your deepest fears over and over again in different forms until you finally cleared them. Every painful experience, every betrayal, every loss, every moment you thought would destroy you, that was frequency training. You were being stripped of everything that could create interference in your signal. Your ego attachments, your false beliefs, your emotional reactivity, your need for external validation, all of it had to be burned away so that what's left is a clear, stable, reliable transmitter. The 144,000 aren't just souls who can hear the frequency, they're souls who can broadcast it cleanly enough to affect the planetary field. You're not here to just receive information, you're here to transmit it. You're not here to just understand the truth. You're here to embody it so clearly that others can feel it without you saying a word. Your presence alone, when you're broadcasting at full capacity, changes the frequency of every environment you enter. You literally raise the vibration of rooms, situations, and people just by being there, assuming you're not dimming your signal to make others comfortable. And that right there is the test. Can you hold your frequency when everyone around you is operating at a lower bandwidth? Can you continue broadcasting truth when the majority is invested in lies? Can you stand firm in your signal when the pressure to conform, to dim, to shut down your frequency is overwhelming? Here's what the universe needs you to understand. Your discomfort is not a problem to be solved. Your sensitivity is not a weakness to be overcome. Your inability to tolerate low-frequency environments is not a character flaw that needs fixing. All of it, every single thing that makes you feel too much, process too deeply, and struggle to adapt to normal life, that's your frequency signature working correctly. You're supposed to feel uncomfortable in low-vibration environments. You're supposed to reject relationships that require you to dim your light. You're supposed to struggle with jobs, situations, and dynamics that operate on frequencies incompatible with yours. That discomfort is your guidance system. That's your internal compass telling you that you're in the wrong frequency zone. And the fastest way to step into your mission is to stop trying to make yourself comfortable in spaces that were never meant for you in the first place. So what happens when you stop fighting your frequency and fully activate? What happens when you accept that you're one of the 144,000 and start broadcasting at full capacity, without apology, without dimming, without trying to fit into frequencies that don't match yours? Everything changes, and I mean everything. Your health improves because you stop forcing your body to process environments that are toxic to your frequency. Your relationships transform because you stop trying to maintain connections with people who require you to lower your vibration to relate to them. Your career shifts because you finally stop trying to succeed in systems designed for a completely different frequency band than yours. But here's the part that nobody prepares you for. When you activate fully, you become a lighthouse. And lighthouses don't have friends in the dark, they have purpose. You're going to lose people, you're going to lose opportunities, you're going to lose versions of yourself that were designed to fit into the old world, because your frequency at full broadcast is polarizing, it's activating, it's disruptive to every low-frequency pattern around you. People will either rise to meet your frequency or they'll have to exit your field because the dissonance becomes too uncomfortable. Systems will either evolve to accommodate your frequency or they'll reject you entirely. You'll be loved intensely or disliked intensely, but you'll never be ignored because your broadcast signal at full strength is impossible to miss. The activation process isn't comfortable. It's not light and love and butterflies. It's intense. It's confronting. It's apocalyptic, meaning that which was hidden becomes revealed. Every lie you've told yourself gets exposed. Every false identity you've constructed crumbles. Every coping mechanism you've relied on stops working. You go through what mystics call the dark night of the soul. But what's really happening is frequency purging. Your entire system is clearing out anything that can't match the frequency you're meant to hold. Old friendships dissolve. Family members who seemed stable suddenly show their true colors. Jobs that seemed secure fall apart. Relationships that seemed solid crumble. And in the middle of all this chaos, you're supposed to remember that this isn't destruction, it's liberation. This isn't loss, it's frequency alignment. This isn't failure. It's everything that wasn't meant for the real you finally releasing its grip. Here's what waits on the other side of activation. Clarity like you've never experienced. You'll know instantly what's aligned and what's not. You'll feel opportunities before they appear. You'll attract your actual soul family, the others in the 144,000 who are also broadcasting clearly. You'll step into work that doesn't feel like work because it's pure frequency expression. You'll manifest at quantum speeds because you're no longer sending mixed signals into the field. You'll heal faster, create faster, evolve faster because you're not fighting against your own frequency anymore. People will find you without effort. Resources will flow without struggle. Doors will open without you having to force them, not because you're lucky, not because you've finally learned the right manifestation technique, but because you're broadcasting the frequency you incarnated to transmit, and reality responds to clear signals. So here we are. You've made it to the end. If you're still reading these words, if you felt every single thing I described, if you recognized yourself in every paragraph, then there's no more hiding. You know what you are. You know what you came here to do. And you know that every excuse you've been using to stay small, stay safe, stay hidden, just got obliterated. The frequency doesn't care about your fear. It doesn't care about your doubts. It doesn't care if you feel ready. The signal is broadcasting through you whether you consciously participate or not. The only question is whether you're going to fight it or flow with it. Here's your activation moment right now. Not someday when you're more prepared, not next year when circumstances are better, not after you've healed all your wounds, processed all your trauma, and figured everything out. Right now, this moment, this is the frequency calling you to full broadcast. And the way you respond to this moment will determine how the next phase of your journey unfolds. You can close this video, dismiss it, go back to pretending you're normal, but the frequency doesn't stop. You'll keep hearing it, you'll keep feeling it, you'll keep being activated by it whether you consciously engage or not. Or you can lean in. You can stop fighting. You can acknowledge what your soul has known since birth. You're one of the 144,000. You're here for a reason, and that reason is about to become undeniable. Type 144,000 in the comments if you're claiming your frequency right now, not as superstition, not as a fun engagement tactic, but as an energetic declaration, as a signal to the universe that you're done hiding, done dimming, done pretending to be smaller than you are. That simple act of typing those numbers is more powerful than you realize because you're adding your broadcast to the collective signal. You're stepping into position. You're announcing that you're ready to hold your frequency regardless of what the world thinks about it. And when enough of us make that declaration, when enough of the 144,000 stop hiding and start broadcasting clearly, the entire planetary frequency shifts. That's not metaphor, that's mechanics. That's how this system actually works. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now, because if this video found you, it wasn't random. The algorithm isn't just showing you content based on your watch history. At this level, the algorithm is a frequency matching tool. You're being shown content that matches your energetic signature. This channel showed up in your feed because your frequency is ready for these transmissions. Every video is another activation key, another frequency upgrade, another piece of the remembering that your soul has been waiting for. This isn't entertainment. This isn't motivation. This is frequency technology delivered through words, and your soul knows exactly what it needs. So here's the truth you need to walk away with today. The ringing in your ears isn't tinnitus. The knowing in your gut isn't anxiety. The isolation you felt isn't because you're broken. The attacks you faced aren't because you're cursed. The difficulties you've endured aren't because you're being punished. All of it, every single struggle, every moment of confusion, every experience of not fitting in, that was your frequency trying to break through. That was your signal, trying to broadcast clearly despite all the interference. That was the 144,000 frequency trying to activate inside a reality that wasn't designed to accommodate it. And now you know. You can hear it. You can feel it. You can't unhear it now that you know what you're listening for. You're one of the 144,000. You incarnated with a specific frequency signature that marks you as part of a group tasked with holding and broadcasting a vibration that this reality desperately needs. Your life hasn't been easy because your frequency required testing, training, and purification beyond what ordinary human consciousness endures. But you're still here. You're still standing. You're still broadcasting. And now you know why. The frequency isn't going away, it's only going to get stronger. The question isn't whether you're going to hear it. The question is whether you're going to answer. Welcome home, frequency holder. Your signal has been received. Now it's time to broadcast at full power and watch reality rearrange itself around your true vibration. The 144,000 are coming online, and you're one of them. Start acting like it.